Hey everyone, grab your fabric stash and let's get it organized.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my craft room sewing room. In an earlier video that I did just last week, I was talking about 13 ideas that I've learned over the last few months about my craft room, how to keep things organized and keep things so that the craft room is just a more pleasant space to be. And I showed you one of my ideas for organizing fabric. And I told you about a new idea I had learned that I would like to try. And so today we're going to pursue that. I got some of my fabric done, like you can see up here, but my very favorite colors are still left for me to do. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what I do to have my fabric ready so that when I'm ready to sew, I don't need to pre-shrink. It's all done to have that fabric ready to go. So stay to the end of the video and then I'll show you some of my favorite things that I have sewn over the last year or two. So let's get started. Most of what I sew requires cotton quilting fabric, and I love fat quarters. And I'm going to show you why I will choose a fat quarter over a regularly cut quarter. So let me show you this. This is a fat quarter. That means it's a quarter of a yard, but you know, usually when they cut fabric off of the bolt, they unroll the bolt and it's doubled over. So it's a 45 inch wide piece of fabric. Usually fabrics come in different widths, but for most of the cottons that we see like this, it's 45 inches wide. And so folded over, it actually comes out to about 22.5 inches wide, folded. And then what they do is they just measure the amount of fabric that you need. So if I was looking for a quarter yard, a quarter of a yard is 9 inches. They'd cut a 9-inch strip all the way through that fabric. So when you get that strip, it's like this, and it's folded in half. And so that's how it comes when you get a regular quarter yard of fabric. But when you get a fat quarter, they take that whole yard of fabric, they open it up, and then they cut squares out of it. So this is half a yard wide, so 18 inches, and then half of that 45, so 22. So you basically get an 18 by 22 piece of fabric rather than a 9 by 45 strip of fabric. That's why I like fat quarters, because on most of the sewing I do, having a little bit more width actually really helps with the placement of pattern pieces. So the way I showed you in my 13 ideas video, the way I've stored fabric for so many years was to just line it up in a drawer. And I think it's really pretty and easy, but it does get a lot of wrinkles and I don't get to see it. It's not out where it's pretty and looking nice, which is what I'm trying. Now, one advantage of having it in the drawer is that it stays clean, doesn't get dusty. So I'm going to see how this works with putting them on the cards and out where I can see them. So those are just two ideas. If you can get fat quarters, that's a great idea. Most fabric stores and quilting stores sell fat quarters and it's easy to get them. Okay, now let me share with you what I do when I get fabric home from the store. Now, I don't have a huge stash of fabric. Some people have so much fabric, they'll have to live 3 lifetimes before they can ever use it all up. I like to keep my fabric stash a little smaller so that I know what I have and I can manage it. I know very clearly when I need to buy more pinks, which I use quite a bit, more yellows, more of that light green. I know when I need to do that because my fabric stash is organized and it's small enough that I'm not overwhelmed with fabric. And I also pay attention to scale. So for example, the scale of these fabrics is very large. So for quilts, for people that are life size, that scale is fine. But if I'm making American Girl clothes, which is one of the things I love to make that I'm going to show you if you'll stay to the end. I like things that have a smaller scale. So I like tiny things like these cherries, these, just that little design. The scale is small, so when you make something small like doll clothes, it makes sense for that item. If I made American Girl clothes out of this, it wouldn't look right because the scale is wrong. I need tinier little pictures on my fabric. So that's one thing I always keep in mind, and I always kind of have an eye out for that smaller scale. So think of those things. What colors do you need? What's the scale of the fabric? Do you want a strip that's 1/4 yard? Do you want a fat quarter? And then also, what do you already have on hand? Use up what you've got so that you're not just buying. If you do have a lot of fabric and you're running out of space, my recommendation is this. Look through the fabric. Figure out which ones make you really happy, that you can really see yourself using. Save those. And any that are kind of like, then those are the ones to get rid of. Keep what makes you happy and get rid of the rest. Also, let me just say, I know some people, they have quilting magazines and books and all kinds of craft books and things. And sometimes I hear people be sad and they'll say, oh, I have all these books and I never use them. I haven't made any of the projects in this book. It's okay. It really is. Sometimes just sitting and looking through those books just is a way to be calm and peaceful and just enjoy them. If they make you happy, it's okay to have. Even if you haven't done all of the projects in the book, that's okay. Keep what makes you happy, including in your craft room. Now, I did talk in my other video about if there are projects that you haven't touched in 2 years and your interests have moved on, it's okay to let those go. And to box up the entire craft together in a box and send it to Goodwill is a great way to kind of relieve you of that mind clutter that comes with that, or regret. Let it go. Don't keep holding on to that. Send that to Goodwill with the pieces that you have together for that project and let somebody else find it, because there are people looking for craft ideas and craft supplies at Goodwill. So this is what I do when I come home with new fabric, whether it's 1 piece or 5, I do it the same way, because don't let your fabric just sit in a bag. You bought it to use it or to look at it and enjoy it, so enjoy it. So what I do when I first come home with fabric, I go ahead and open up all of those pieces of fabric, and I put my lights together, of course, my darks together, and then I send them through the wash. Because cotton shrinks, if the fabric isn't pre-shrunk, you can run into trouble where you get puckers or gathers where one fabric shrinks and the other one maybe already was pre-shrunk, and they shrink at different amounts. So I just go ahead and pre-shrink everything when I get it home from the store. And then I know if it's here, if it's in the drawer, if it's on the card and in its place, I know that's been done. So to pre-shrink, you want to use hot water. It goes right into your washer with the hottest water that you can in the wash cycle. I don't use any detergent. It's just the shrinking that you want to have happen. So hottest water, shortest cycle. If you've got a delicate cycle or a hand wash cycle that usually runs quite a bit shorter, that's all it needs. So generally I go hot water in the beginning, cold water to finish. And then I take them out, throw them in the dryer, and that also will complete any shrinking that's going to happen. That's when the fun starts. I really like the feel of brand new cloth. I like that it's got that kind of crisp texture that makes it really easy to cut patterns and things. And so, but after you wash the fabric, you lose that, and it's called sizing. It's actually something they put on the fabric that gives it that texture. So after I wash it, I like to replace the sizing, and so I use this magic sizing. For this I use the light body, and you just get that nice crispness back in the fabric. And so you don't need much. Let's get this one done, and then we'll do one other one, and I'll show you. You really do not need much sizing, and you spray a little bit, and then it kind of coats the fabric as you iron it, and it makes it really nice. And then I have these little shirt clips. They look like this. And I got a bunch of those on Amazon. And then I just put that on to hold the fabric in place. And I just smooth it out on the back. This is a fat quarter. The one I just did is not a fat quarter. And you'll see that the fat quarters go on the cards a little bit more easily. It's got a more flimsy feel after it's been washed because the sizing has all been washed out of it. And so that's why we replace the sizing. And so what I do is if the fabric is in the drawer or now on the cards, then I know it has been shrunk, pre-shrunk, and it has been resized, and it's just all ready to go. If it isn't in my ready stash, I know I still need to do those things. But it's kind of nice when you, you know, after you've gone to the fabric store and you come home, that you can get right busy doing something with your fabric, and it's just kind of nice to be able to use it and enjoy it right away. And that sizing, as you iron it, it skims over the fabric and creates this really nice crispness to the fabric. Just bring it in. And these cards, once I use this fabric, these cards can just be used over and over again. So I just slide those little clips on there. And I come back and just kind of lift them up and flatten out that fabric. And there you go. Okay, I promised you that at the end I would show you some of the things I have made and that I am currently working on with my fabric. Now, I want to show you this one. This is just a fun little thing that I had my students when I taught a sewing class. So I had generally 18 boys and girls that would be in this sewing class, and so I would find fun projects for them to do. I found this in a little beginning sewing book that is at that school, and so I don't have the book and I wish I could tell you what it was from. But when we moved, I mean, the book belonged to the school. So, but this is one of the projects I made. So it's a little hamburger. So here's the bun. And so it's really great because it teaches to make things in a quarter to give it a little bit of a puff like that. And then we have, so let's build our hamburger here. So we have the bottom bun, some lettuce, and I will try to find the book this is from and link it below, and I'm hopeful. And then I just got some brown fabric and did a hamburger patty. Next comes the onion, a tomato, a slice of cheese. Now that was fun to make. And then some little pickles. And this was one of the little hand stitching projects that all of the students learned to do early on, because they always started with hand stitching and then the bun. And so it was just so much fun, and it's been one of those things that I made that I've really enjoyed. So I wanted to show you that. Okay, let's look at some of these other projects. I've told you that I really enjoy sewing American Girl clothes. And so this little pattern is very similar to a dress I wore that my mom made when I was very little. So I actually have used this pattern and created several different dresses. And so they're fun, and I actually entered these into the county fair where we used to live in Washington, and I won blue ribbons for them, so that was exciting. And then this one, and you'll see that I close all of these with Velcro because it's so easy for kids. And my daughter, Anne, she still really enjoys playing with American Girl, and you know, that is one of the great blessings of a child with Down syndrome, particularly a girl with Down syndrome, is there are some very fun, sweet things that she never will grow out of. And that makes things very fun for me. And then, so this was one I made for Valentine's Day. And so I put a little Valentine in the pocket for her, and then a little headband to go with it. So I love, you can tell I love making American Girl dresses, and the colors are so friendly and fun. And you can see what I mean by scale, looking at the scale of the fabric to make sure it's small enough that it makes sense for that American Girl 18-inch size. And then I just wanted to show you this one. Every year for Christmas, my daughters, all three of them, when they were wanting American Girls, every one of them earned the money to buy their own. And every one of them, it took more than a year for them to earn that, but they were so proud of it, and they have been so good at taking good care of their dolls, because they had to work hard to get those dolls. And I would recommend that kids shouldn't just have everything bought for them. They should have a chance to buy things of their own that they've worked hard for. That's very good for their growth and their character. So I made this one. This is a little bit of a different pattern. It's very similar to this one, but a little different. And so this particular Christmas, I have a daughter that was working at Disney World. And so, yes, my daughters are all grown, but they still, one of their favorite things is, what is their American Girl doll wearing on Christmas morning? So I made a little bag, some little American Girl size Minnie Mouse ears. And then I went through and I actually found these flyers online, little graphics of them, of all of the parks at Disney World. And so I printed them American Girl size. So there's Magic Kingdom and Epcot, Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios in the little American Girl size. So they fit right in that purse right there. And then I also made, these are what the fast passes used to look like. And so I went and made fast passes for her favorite rides of Tower of Terror and Splash Mountain. Oh, and the Toy Story Midway Mania, where you're shooting at targets. That's a lot of fun. And then some little snacks, and then her favorite Disney World treat are the Mickey Ears ice cream bars. And so I just put all of those fun little things in the bag, and she loved that. And so it was a complete outfit that her doll had on for Christmas morning, of course, with her little black shoes and socks. And so that has been a really fun thing for me every Christmas to go ahead and make these outfits for their dolls to wear and to figure out what it's going to be. That's been fun. This is one of my favorite outfits. I've made this outfit, I bet, 10 times. I've made it for my own girls, and I've made it for friends who have American Girl dolls, and it's just so easy and so fun. So it starts with this little shirt, very easy pattern, and then of course it's got the little top and the pants that match. So, and then this one had a little purse to go with it. Super easy, such a fun outfit. And I mean, these have seen a lot of years and a lot of play, but it's so nice when you use just that nice cotton. It washes up really well, and then it's just a quick iron and back to the doll closet. And then this is one last thing that I've actually been working on for several years. This is from a book by Amy Butler called Style Stitches, I think they are. They're called origami bags, and they're for pencils, pens, or whatever, but they come in lots of shapes. I mean, lots of sizes. And so they get bigger and bigger as you go. And they get up to, I did a whole set for one of my daughters already, and they actually get up to a bag that's about like this. And they're just, so you can see how I do this. I actually do this all in assembly line. So I'm making 2 different sets right now. This is one, this is the second one. And so I do them in assembly line. So I do one step, because they're all put together the same way. So I do one step, move on, do that next step through all of the sizes, all of the fabrics, and I just carry them on so that when I'm done, it's going to be, 2 full sets that are finished and ready to go. And maybe I'll do a video and kind of show you how I'm finishing that up, because I'm already, started into it. But they're just these really cute, really handy bags, and easy to make and lots of fun. And now that I'm looking at it, I thought, I need to try this in faux leather, because I love that so much. If you have comments about how you store your fabric, or any comments at all, please do make those comments below, and please subscribe and share this video with others so that we can all share and learn from each other. And I'll see you next time.